So finally, we're going to want to test this with something other than our own machine, right? We want to test it externally. So to do that in Google, you're going to have to open the firewall. So to open the firewall in Google on the port, you're going to go into VPC network, and then there should be a firewall option. So if you go to the hamburger menu on the left, go into the firewall, it's going to show you your firewall rules. So you can see here I've got some firewall rules defined. We have to create a new one. And I'm just going to make this very simple. Not going to do anything fancy here. So I'm just going to go up to the top where it says create firewall rule. I know you can't really see that here. I can move this down a little bit. There we go. So we're going to create a firewall rule. I'm going to give it a name. I'm just going to call it LDAP. And then down here for the network, I'm just going to leave it on default. Don't really have to do anything fancy here. I'll just do all instances in the network. Source IP 0.0.0.0/0, which basically means doesn't care where the traffic is coming from. And we're going to allow TCP port 389. So 389 is the port for LDAP without encryption. We're not setting up encryption in this lab. So once I create that, that's going to add a firewall rule that's going to allow traffic from the internet. Now, so we already have a rule that allows SSH. That's why we're able to SSH to our server. You can see it right here. So now we also have a rule that's going to allow port 389 for LDAP, so we can get our LDAP queries to work. Our next step, once we have that configured, is we can use a utility to test this. So on my machine, I've installed a little utility called LDAPExplorer. And I'll show you what this looks like. It's kind of small here, but this is LDAPExplorer. And if I go in here to my configurations, I can create a new one. I'm just going to call it LDAP. Doesn't really matter what you call it. But under server, you're going to put the IP address, the public IP address of your server. So in my case, I'm going to go back to Google, go to my VM instances, and then I should be able to copy my server IP, plug it in right here. And then under connection for the user DN, this is the DN in which all of my users are located. So that should be, I'm just going to copy and paste it here. So this is, I'll do the base DN first because that's the simpler one. So the base DN is just learn, or DC equals learn dash Linux, comma, DC equals local. So that's the base DN. In other words, that's the starting point of our hierarchical database. And then for the actual user account, that is going to be admin. So because it's asking for a DN, the DN is the distinguished name. The distinguished name is that full string, that full LDAP string, right? So it's CN, or common name equals admin. That's our username, and then it has to include the base DN as well. I know it seems kind of redundant because it's also down here, but that's basically how it works. So if I hit test connection, I'm going to put in my password. By the way, that's going to be our admin password. Tells me that the test is okay. So now if I come back over here and open this, I should be able to connect. And that's it. So I'm in, I'm connected, and now you can kind of see that we have this hierarchical database. I can click through and kind of keep expanding into these attributes. There we go. So you can demonstrate that it works, that you're able to connect to this externally and see your user accounts that you created in LDAP.